Newcastle set the bar last weekend, beating Aston Villa 5-1. It was definitely the best start to the season I think Newcastle could have hoped for, and they are top of the league now on goal difference, looking down at everyone else. And this weekend they will be going into this match with their chest puffed out, their chins up, and they will be looking to take on the treble holders Manchester City, who got off to probably the second best start to the season, beating Burnley 3-0 on the Friday night game. But this is a huge opportunity for Newcastle to make a real statement of intent for their top four credentials before the fixture list starts to pile up and before all the competitions start to require games and wins and runs to be put together. It's also going to be a great opportunity to see the real standing of the best 11, you know, in that deep end situation, playing the best team in the world, basically. How good is this midfield three? How many goals can the front line score? And can the defence, you know, can they keep Man City at bay? There's going to be so many great questions Newcastle are going to have to answer at the weekend. But for me, Man City are just going from strength to strength at the moment. We've seen Josko Gvardiol come into the building. We've seen Bernardo Silva extend his contract. And then the young talent, Phil Foden can't even get in the team despite Kevin De Bruyne being out, Cole Palmer sniffing around, and then there's Erling Haaland up front. So they're not going to be phased coming to St James's Park, looking at the 5-1 result last weekend, and Man City will be showing up in this game thinking that it's all for them to do as well to keep themselves at the top of the mountain. In the video today, I'm going to preview the game and just look at what I'm excited to see and where I think this match might be won and lost. We might even do a little score prediction as well at any point in the video. If you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel. We are pushing for 10,000 subscribers and we cannot do that without your support. So if you do enjoy the content, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It will make you feel good, trust me. And get involved in the comment section. Let me know what I'm getting wrong or what maybe I highlighted that happened maybe in this case, since we're doing a preview on the channel. And let's just get stuck into it. I don't think we're going to see any material change from the Newcastle team that started against Aston Villa. It did feel like this is the best team Eddie Howe could have named, and I had some interesting comments in the last video talking about how Eddie Howe was quite cunning in pre-season to play the plan B against Aston Villa, so then when it came to the league they wouldn't really get what plan A was and maybe able to catch them quite cold. And I definitely subscribe to that being a tactic and something that definitely played into Newcastle's hands on that match. So yeah, fair enough, but it does then further highlight what plan B is with Livermento coming into the team. And we've just seen, what's the boy's name, is it Howe, just signing from Chelsea for like 30 million, another left back potential to maybe further emphasise that plan B could be 3-5-2 with wing-backs. Where I really struggle to concept this match is understanding how Newcastle are going to try and play out and what they think their main route to go is going to be. Because with the midfield, as we described it last week, has been this 888 of Tonali, Bruno, and, you know, laterally Joelinton as well. They've got strength, they've got presence, they've got mobility, they've got technique, they've got vision. They've got so much all going for them in this kind of, say, this 888 kind of system that they were put into last week. But the way Man City really crowd a pitch and really boss possession and open the game up, especially with Josko Gvardiol expected to start this game, I don't know where the spaces is going to come for the likes of Anthony Gordon, Almiron, even Bruno and Tonali. They'll be having to play in really tight, congested spaces against some of the best players in the league, some of the best players in the world, and it will be a huge test for them. But I'm not too sure that there's going to be enough space in here for them to have that much joy to do anything other than play balls into big transitions into counter-attack and really play with breakaway pace with the likes of Almiron, Gordon and Isak as well. Which, you know, with the likes of Kyle Walker, Gvardiol, Akanji, Stones, you think, you know, Man City will fancy their chances in recovery enough times where they can keep the scoring to a relative minimum. But I hope this isn't the main route to go plan for Newcastle, because this is only going to yield so many opportunities in the game, because Man City are going to dominate the ball if you let them, and because of the way they can just crowd a pitch and make it so busy, with even the likes of Stones really comfortable coming into these areas here, allowing Rodri to float across, Walker can tuck in, and Walker is the guy with the recovery pace, so him slipping in there isn't any problem at all. And Gvardiol, like I mentioned on the channel, and some of you guys, some of the Man City fans came into the comments and said Gvardiol's not going to play in that position, but Gvardiol, as we've seen in the Super Cup, was super comfortable coming into these areas here, and he wants to get in and towards the box, and he is basically like another left winger. And if you look at the game where, was it Burnley, Grealish didn't feature, and Gvardiol didn't get that many touches in the game, but he was getting into the box. He was getting into the opposition box trying to get on the end of stuff. So I thoroughly think that if Gvardiol is starting out here with Grealish, and Grealish is much more going to be that wide option, likely starters Phil Foden and Bernardo Silva are really capable of going around in that kind of controlling playmaker duet within these box situations that Stones, Rodri, Gvardiol are going to force Newcastle back into. And this feels like death from 1,000 cuts with the likes of Alvarez, as I call him, Spider-Man, teaming up here with Haaland as a kind of another forward option. What I would actually like to see from Newcastle in this game is perhaps a little bit of that plan B, because like we've seen on the first match day, teams that love to do the press, and you can look at all the ones throughout the division that love to get in there and press. Liverpool against Chelsea, Ange Ball, Spurs against Brentford, and even to an extent Man United against Wolves. All these teams will want to go in forward press. As soon as you've got like a bank of 5 and a bank of 4, it really nullifies a lot of the potential gains to be gotten from that press. So I think Newcastle, it might seem a bit defensive, it might seem a bit negative, but it might actually buy them a bit more space to be able to get the likes of Tonali, Bruno onto the ball in more of a controlled situation where they've got the ability with the likes of their interlinking attackers, the likes of Gordon and Almiron, who love to come into pockets and play 1-2s and break into space as well. I think that can give them a lot more opportunities than anything, because Man City will always guard the breakaway, and if there's, if it is a 3-5-2, or it depends how you want to think of it, but if you've got the likes of Isak and maybe Wilson up here, maybe it's too soon for Livermento, maybe it would be the boy Murphy who's played in there. Maybe you could even stretch Anthony Gordon and make him play like right wing back and just have this still as the 4, but really crunch it down out of possession. You could maybe do that. But I would like to think that that's something that Newcastle would entertain, because if you can get into this deep backline 5, then it makes it harder for a lot of the midfield space to come out when you've got the likes of Bruno, Tonali and Joelinton really crowding that space out and giving it. Because having Isak and Wilson up here is going to then prohibit some of this space being eaten up by the likes of Stones and subsequently by the likes of Rodri and maybe then your Guardiola as well, which then gives maybe a little bit more space for some of these other guys to maybe then come out in possession or even just in the turnover of play. And then as the match develops, you've got the option, of course, to make substitutes and then maybe test Man City in some different ways as the game goes on. But I think that's, it'll be really interesting to see how Newcastle do tackle this game. I think Man City are quite predictable at this point. It's maybe just a case of, will it be Foden, Silva, will it be Kovacic, will it be a few interchangeable pieces of the machine, but you kind of know what you're going to get from Man City. I would be very surprised if Newcastle kept this to 2 goals or less. I think Man City are probably good for 2 or 3 goals in this game. And this has grown on me, the idea of Isak and Wilson playing in this team for the first half. I think, Newcastle, they scored 5 in the first game. Again, it's really hard to imagine that Newcastle are not capable of going and getting 2 or 3 goals as well. I think if I let my imagination run away with me, this game is going to be like 4-3 or something like that. And I'm probably going to give it to Man City on the edge. So I'm going to say 4-2. I think what this game is going to be to Man City. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. On screen now, some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.